Raven SR with a big SynFuels announcement, and I discuss a very important email I got regarding careers in hydrogen. All this on today's Hydrogen Podcast. So the big questions in the energy industry today are, how is hydrogen the primary driving force behind the evolution of energy? Where is capital being deployed for hydrogen projects globally? And where are the best investment opportunities for early adopters who recognize the importance of hydrogen? I will address the critical issues and give you the information you need to deploy capital. Those are the questions that will unlock the potential of hydrogen, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Paul Rodden, and welcome to the Hydrogen Podcast. Hi everyone. Before I begin, I wanted to take a moment to share a personal triumph with you. Today, with all of your help, the Hydrogen Podcast has reached 100,000 downloads. I am humbled that you listen, have subscribed, ask interesting questions, and support the podcast. It means everything to me, and I really do appreciate you. I'm excited for the future of hydrogen, and I will work hard to bring you great content and find interesting people to interview. I also appreciate the feedback emails that I get, and as we continue to grow the podcast, your suggestions will help shape the direction that we go. I'm also excited to tell you that we are talking to a few companies about a sponsorship or partnership deal that will bring value to our listeners. And as that develops, I will definitely keep you posted. Thanks again for your support. I really do appreciate all of you. First, in a press release on September 29th, Raven SR and Emerging Fuels Technology to collaborate on syngas upgrading for SAF and renewable diesel. Raven SR Inc., a renewable fuels company, and Emerging Fuels Technology, EFT, announced that they have signed a memorandum of understanding to integrate their respective technologies into an advanced system for producing sustainable aviation fuel and renewable diesel. The resulting production platform will include Raven SR's patented steam CO2 reformer process and EFT's patented Fischer-Tropsch synthesis and MaxJet Max Diesel upgrading technology. This combination will allow Raven SR to produce high-quality synthetic fuels at a higher than currently feasible volumes with smaller modular systems. The Raven SR technology is a non-combustion thermal process for converting organic waste and landfill gas to hydrogen and Fischer-Tropsch synfuels. In a quote from Matt Murdoch, the CEO of Raven SR, we expect to go to market with an accelerated timeframe for SAF and other renewable Fischer-Tropsch fuels by incorporating EFT's well-regarded catalyst reactor technologies. The collaboration with EFT, particularly their 75 BPD and 500 BPD systems, which will match up well with our standard systems, will enable us to produce advanced fuels from waste on a local basis. Under the MOU, Raven SR and EFT will work together to optimize their process to maximize production while further reducing emissions. The master license agreement will enable Raven SR to deploy its technology with EFT technology on a global scale, producing liquid fuels more quickly and nearer to market. In a quote from Kenneth Agee, founder and president of EFT, this MOU represents a meeting of the minds and facilitates a means to produce premium synthetic Fischer-Tropsch fuels from waste materials. We share similar ambitions of accelerating the production of renewable fuels with negative carbon intensity on a cost-competitive basis. We are very impressed with the first-rate quality of Raven SR's syngas and the efficiency of its process. Raven SR's technology is sufficiently flexible to provide an ideal source of syngas for Fischer-Tropsch technology. Raven SR's technology is designed to produce more hydrogen per ton of waste than competing processes, making the cost per kilogram of hydrogen competitive, which has been a challenge of adopting hydrogen as a fuel source, and bringing long-term and integrated value to Raven. The technology can also be implemented quickly, meeting demand faster and closer to the market. Raven SR's unique process can also convert waste to produce other renewable energy products, such as sustainable aviation fuel, synthetic liquid fuels such as diesel, Jet A, Mil-Spec, and JP8, additives and solvents such as methanol, butanol, and naphtha. This collaboration with EFT provides Raven SR with the latest proprietary Fischer-Tropsch synthesis and max jet and max diesel upgrading technology to create a scalable, sustainable path for converting syngas into very high yields of high-quality jet fuel and diesel fuel products. Okay, so great news from Raven SR and a very strategic partnership allowing them to move forward very quickly. Now, in my last podcast, I talked about some of the industries that hydrogen should be focused in on first. And the fact is that the syngas and synfuels market is primed and ready for hydrogen to step in. Now, I won't get into too much about what syngas and synfuels are, but it's important to note that they burn cleaner, last longer, and are more energy dense than historic liquid fuels. But really what makes this announcement so very important is the ability for Raven SR to now make synfuels and syngas locally. So as an example, a small regional airport now can have their jet fuel produced in the same area and decrease their risk of getting that fuel from a refinery halfway across the country. Now, the next piece I want to talk about is a little bit different than what you're used to. And it's an email from a listener who brings up a very important part about the growing hydrogen market, and that's labor. Now, to protect his confidentiality, I won't release his name, but his email says this: I'm a veteran employment representative. This means I help U.S. service members exiting the military find jobs. One of my responsibilities in this role is to stay informed of local labor market information, to bridge the gap for veterans looking for quality jobs. While doing this, I came across the show, The Hydrogen Podcast, and in his environment, no one's talking about hydrogen or the technology that supports this industry solution, like this podcast. He says he also finds himself dealing with people lost on the subject. He says that after listening to some of the podcasts, he was inspired to learn more about hydrogen in his community. And he said last month, he attended a free meet and greet with the American Association of Blacks in Energy. However, he said, to his disappointment, no one in the room said anything about hydrogen. Most of the talking points covered were solar panels, working at Tesla or Rivian, and the new nuclear power plant in Burke County, Georgia. Even the U.S. Department of Energy representatives in the room only talked about small support jobs for local electricity providers like Georgia Power. And he says, as these are the best opportunities for a veteran small business. He says he really wants to learn more about the hydrogen industry to guide his clients to quality STEM careers. It seemed like the most jobs that we talk about on the show are at the engineer, scientist, or CEO startup level. The majority of his clients aren't first-generation college students, but blue-collar raised hard workers. And he says he feels like this is a good time to start looking for blue-collar hydrogen jobs when no one else is talking about it. Now, this email struck a very strong chord with me, and it's also the second time in a week I've had talks about labor and staffing issues for the hydrogen economy. Now, I am not an expert on labor statistics, but as the hydrogen industry grows and builds, we will need a growing skilled labor force to help build out the infrastructure. Now, some of this infrastructure is a direct crossover from the oil and gas industry, such as dealing with natural gas feedstock. And while there is going to be a learning curve in dealing with hydrogen versus natural gas, a lot of the underlying elements in dealing with an explosive gas is still there. And so that expertise is still needed. And something else to really think about is this. All of the talk about the hubs in the United States looking to get developed, such as West Virginia, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, all have strong skilled labor forces in oil and gas. Now, the oil and gas industry is known for its cyclical pattern and the ebbs and flows of natural gas pricing. And as that natural gas price drops, layoffs follow. One thing that hydrogen offers as an industry for skilled labor is a more constant demand and less of a likelihood that those prices could drop and you'd find yourself out of a job. So again, thank you for this email. And to any of you listening out there, if you have more of a background in labor, please shoot me an email and give me your thoughts on the topic. All right, that's it for me, everyone. If you have a second, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a good review on whatever platform it is that you listen to. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, whatever it is. That would be a tremendous help to the show. And as always, if you ever have any feedback, you're welcome to email me directly at info@thehydrogenpodcast.com. And as always, take care, stay safe. I'll talk to you later. Hey, this is Paul. I hope you liked this podcast. If you did and want to hear more, I'd appreciate it if you would either subscribe to this channel on YouTube or connect with your favorite platform through my website at www.thehydrogenpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. I very much appreciate it. Have a great day.